And here in Eureka, we like to start every Sunday morning with a very special way by saying our community statement. And so in a moment, I'll invite us to say that together after we get it up here on the screen for us, Marvin. And then I'll invite you to turn to someone next to you to be able to honor their presence for that final part. So give them just a moment here to get the PowerPoint up so we can see that. All right, so let's go ahead and say this together. We are a welcoming community where the vibration of love lifts us, the wisdom of the ages inspires us, and the science of mind teaching empowers us. I honor the path that brought you here this day. On the path. Yes. Wonderful. Yes. How great it is to honor each other for that path that brought us here. We also have something, as you've seen in the slides, Fun Day School is back. And we need your help. If you know anybody that has little ones, people that used to come, or people who would really benefit from bringing their little ones, let's fill the halls with childhood giggles again. I'm so just ready to hear that sound. And I know that our beloved teacher is here and ready just to welcome those kids back with open arms. Yeah, and if you were looking for other ways to connect in with this community, here is our weekly schedule. You will find everything that's on this schedule and more in the newsletter, as well as on our website. And the website is where you will go to register for anything that is being posted online. And so I want to go ahead and invite Vicki up to tell us more about the Twice Nice sale.
Good morning. It's so great to see so many old friends, good friends. And I see we have some new people I haven't yet met. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm so glad to be back with you and not Zooming today. Yes, if you came through the social hall, you can see we are in the throes of preparing for our biggest fundraiser every year. The Twice Nice sale is back. Yay. Now, the sign-up sheets this morning, Reverend Angelica tells me, are in the back of the room. We need to know what shifts you can come to help during the sale. And that's a lot of fun. That's a great way to be back together with people after our absences. And we need people at every point in here where the clothing is sold. Of course, in the sanctuary, we need cashiers at the doors. I'm going to be outside where we keep an eye on everything, and we have a whole variety of things out there that can be sold outside on the parking lot. I was going to say playground, on the parking lot, just because of the nature of the item. So there are a couple of times during this sale that starts on Friday and ends on Saturday afternoon. There are a few times that are particularly labor intensive that we want you to consider coming by, even if you're staying here for just an hour or two and going back and doing your Saturday or Friday things and then coming back later to serve in your time slot. So one of the things we're going to do even today, where this room needs to be all tables for Donna and Ruth to set up the clothing. So we're going to ask you today to move your chairs, to stack your chairs on the side and stick around, because Brian is all set with his trailer down at the basement for us to bring out what tables we have and set them up in here. And there are clothing racks as well. And those are kind of cumbersome, but they're not particularly heavy. So all of us can help with that. And speaking of tables, we find that we could use more tables. So if you have, yes, exactly. I'm thinking I've got one in the garage that has a lot of stuff on it, but I can move that out for a few days and bring that table here to be used in any of these rooms. So I think I'm going to bring it over on Monday. Would that be good? Are people coming at noon on Monday, Reverend Angelica?
10 o'clock.
Noon on Monday?
10. We're going to start at 10.
10 tomorrow.
And go till 4 every day.
Whoa. Well, you see how much we have. You know, we haven't had this for a couple of years, right? So, no. It's of that time opportunity is available to you. Listen to 10 to 4. So you can get a little work in and come and help. So, but bring your tables, also sawhorses and plywood work wonderfully for tables. So bring your sawhorses. I've got a couple of those at home, I know. And Brian has told me that there are some doors downstairs that we can use for tables with those sawhorses too. So keep that in mind. All the things that you could provide that will help us display and sell and earn for our center. Okay.
Plus, it's a lot of fun.
And well, it is a lot of fun. Another thing I'd like you to bring marked are tarps. Bring your tarps marked with your name, because those serve us as tables out in the parking lot. We can put all these suitcases and bags that we have. We put garden things on them. We put tools on them. Sometimes we even move things, and I think we'll have to this year. I think we'll have to move some things from the social hall area out to the parking lot because we have such an abundance of inventory to sell. So that's very exciting, but it takes more preparation for it, doesn't it? So there are a couple of times that I mentioned before that are particularly labor intensive. And I'm sure you already know, they are the sign up, or the setup time, Friday morning at 8 o'clock, if you can be here, 9 o'clock, if that's better for you. We are going to have to set up for a noon opening. So all those things that are in the basement that are going to be sold outside have to be brought from the basement to the parking lot. And well, that's primarily it. Everything has to be open and ready to sell at noon. And it takes a few hours to do that. And also we will have professional sales, yard sale people lined up on the sidewalk trying to get in, probably at 7. So we need to hold them at bay and get that all done. And then the other major labor intensive time is in restoring our center to its own natural self. And that is to pack up everything that's outside. We know there won't be much left, right? It'll all be sold. Yeah. That'll be easy, right, Louise? That'll be easy. So we'll bring those, we have to bring those things in, and we have to pack up everything in this room and restore our beautiful sanctuary to its proper look. So I'd love to have it talk to a volunteer after service. I'm not particularly good at this, but Brian has pointed out to me that we could really use a sign at the back, at the side door, maybe hanging on the fence, that will say, "There's more downstairs, dishwasher and furniture downstairs." We don't want to lug all those things up. And a pool table. So let's get that dishwasher, pool table, furniture downstairs. But wait, there's more, you know? So come on down, get down there. So while we're pricing this week from 10 to 4, some of us will be going downstairs to price that furniture. So hopefully after today, we'll have a little more room to maneuver that, because we don't want to move that up and down. So it's going to be a great event for us this year. And as Brian said, it's just a lot of fun. We hang around, we go from room to room and check people out, and it's great to be together again. I really feel especially connected to that thought because I've been away from you. So looking forward to a great sale, and we need your help. We invite everything. Just stop by and price things for a while. Bring things by for us to use in setup. So thank you very much.
All right, that is going to be a wonderful event. Also coming up, we have practitioner Scott Q. Marcus is teaching a class series called Conversations with Your Inner Voice. The last session had about 20 people in it and had some really great feedback. And he said that this one promises to be even more insightful with discussions and breakout sessions. It's going to be held on September 3rd. And we'll be taking a look at who we were in the past, the choices we've made, why we made those decisions, and then using meditation, group discussion, and an inspiring presentation with a little light journaling to decide what we wish to release to allow us to become even more of who we already know ourselves to be. The standard cost is $20, but ECSL members can save 50% by entering the promo code ECSL when registering online. Please be sure and sign up early.
And it is on Zoom.
It is on Zoom, yes. Also backpacks for Bridge House. As you know, the kids are getting ready to go back to school very, very soon. And we have been in the process of collecting backpacks for the Bridge House. Money and donations are still being accepted. So please be sure and get those into us. And we also wanted to say a big thank you to Bev for collecting all of that and putting that together. Next, we have Art with Louise. Here are some of the pictures that we had, what we created last week, and please come and join us next week. This month, our theme is nature. Yeah, we had to get the turtle in there. And I am doing our contemplative meditation this morning with Jackson. So I'll be doing a light reading followed by some music, a prayer, and then Jackson will close us out with a little music. This is a short reading from Mark Nepo's book, The Book of Awakening. It's called Teachers Are Everywhere. So often we think of ourselves as freestanding and in charge because we have the simple blessing of being able to go wherever we want. But we are rooted, just like the shrubs, the trees, and the flowers, in an unseen soil that is everywhere. This soil of life in which we grow speaks a different language, offering us direction that can only be heard in the roots of how we feel and think.
I see joy, I see peace, I see goodness surrounding me. I see love in every breath I breathe. I see God in everything. I see happiness, I see freedom. I see the beauty that lives in me. I see perfection in what life brings. I see joy in everything.
What a joy it is to come together on this beautiful Sunday morning, to lean into this beautiful community, knowing that this is a place of joy, that it is here that we know and remember that we are rooted in that one presence, one power. I call it God, I call it good, and I know that each one of us is that we are each individualizations of this great essence I call God. It shows up as joy and peace and freedom. It shows up as love. And so I declare right here and right now that each of us is this place of love, that it simply flows forth from us because it cannot be contained. It is that good, that light, that love that surrounds this beautiful planet and beyond. That we are each here to be that place that God shows up. What a joy it is to know and claim these truths. To be here as this beloved CSL family, to up-level the vibration of the entire world. I simply call this good and so very good as I cast it forth into the law, letting it go and letting it be, knowing that sweet spirit has already said, yes, my beloved ones, yes. And we know this together by affirming together, and so it is.
I see happiness, I see freedom, I see the beauty that lives in me. I see perfection in what life brings. I see God in
Wonderful. All right. Before we bring Reverend Angelica up for our message this morning, I'd like to invite our board president, Rick St. Charles, up for a very special presentation. Rick?
The council decided last month that it would be a good thing to do to spotlight one of our members once a month for the special gifts and talents that they're sharing with us. And for the month of August, we are honoring Amy Waples. This will be in the lobby. It'll be the first one, and every month we'll put up another one. So you don't get this one. This one goes in the lobby, but you get this one. But just want to show them. It does the same thing. That's your picture. And we have a thank you card. We had to go to 2 because so many people signed it last week. So there's a thank you card on the table. And please sign it for Amy. Amy, thank you so much. She does, and what this is for, it's for the beautiful altars that she does. So I'll read what's on it. Member of the month, Amy Beljohn, is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah.
Beljohn Waples. Today, we offer special thanks to Amy for her service to the center. Each month, our sanctuary is graced by the altar you lovingly produced. Our appreciation for you is immeasurable. On behalf of all of our members, we are grateful. That was written by Kathy Johansson. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you, Amy.
Thank you, everyone.
And a big shout out to Edward, her better half.
Well, that's fun to be able to honor our members, isn't it? I think it's great. So once a month, that's going to be happening. Before I start this morning's talk, I wanted to mention something that somebody said to me the other day. I was saying that, I was working on getting everybody excited about coming and volunteering for the Twice Nice. And this person on the phone says, well, tell them if they don't come and volunteer, they have to up their tithe. So this, our twice night sale has made over the last, well, it skipped the past 2 years, but over the last couple of years before that made $8,000 to $10,000 for us. So this is something that really helps our budget. I mean, you know, we pay for musicians and me and office and utilities and mortgage and, you know, all these things. And like everyone else, the last few years made it a little difficult. So take a breath. So again, we're still in our month of nature. And our topic today is the furry, the fuzzy, the slimy, the scaly, and everything else. Now, if I still had control over the PowerPoint, I would have had pictures of all kinds of animals, but I had some people tell me that they'd rather I didn't use so many slides. So I've been, you know, the last month or so, we've been working it this way. So I want you to just for a moment, consider all of the amazing creatures that live on this planet. Just think about that for a minute. In your own yard, are you aware of all the different creatures that live there? You might say that. I thought so, but let me tell you something. One morning I was pulling weeds under the rose bushes and this thing flipped out as I pulled a weed and landed on me. And I was like, first, wow. And then I'm looking at this bug. I had never seen a bug like this. It was a beetle and it had all different colors on its shell. It wasn't a normal rose beetle. It was a beetle I had never seen before. And, you know, most of you guys know that, or most of you know that I am an animal person. So that made me think then, what else is living in my yard that I don't know about? Of course, I mentioned this to somebody and they said, have you seen a banana slug yet? I've seen a lot of them this year, unfortunately. But anyway, so from animals large to small, there are so many different furry, fuzzy, scaly, slimy creatures that we're not even conscious of, much less the ones we are. And, you know, here's the thing. The human beings tend to consider themselves as the top dog, right? The top one, the most intelligent life form on the planet. And it seems to me that the reason is humans are the best at what humans do. So we must be the most intelligent species. Now that doesn't even really make sense, does it? It's not true. You know, when you look at the size of brains, for instance, a whale has a brain that's probably as big as the top step of this podium. Has anybody ever been in a science museum where they've stepped into, they've seen like the heart of a whale? You can walk in it. It's that big. It's amazing. And so just because we don't communicate with them in English or whatever language we might speak, doesn't mean that we're the most intelligent. It could be they could be the most intelligent and they think of us, you know, those two-leggeds that live on land and occasionally swim in their country. So now what I'm going to say is that once we recognize that God is in absolutely everything, we will no longer feel like we are the top of the line. We'll start realizing that everything has its own consciousness. And indeed, you can communicate with others' consciousness. I was sharing yesterday a story that I've known that I could communicate with animals since I was a little kid, and everybody told me it was my imagination. But let me tell you a little story that happened just a couple of years ago. So I'm getting dressed to go somewhere, and Romy, my orange cat, is laying on the bed, and I pull out this blouse and I put it on, and he goes, meow. I was like, what? You don't like this one? So I put on another one, and he goes, meow. You know, makes this weird meow. And so I put on another one and he goes, meow. And I looked at him and I said, I gotta be nuts. I'm taking fashion advice from a cat. But he was telling me what he thought. And, you know, once I saw myself in the one that I eventually put on that he liked, I realized he was right. Deepak Chopra says, a flower, a blade of grass, a human body, when broken down to their essential components, are energy and information. The whole universe in its essential nature is the movement of energy and information. The whole universe. And if we get that idea embodied deeply within us, you'll realize how well you can communicate with everything. Absolutely everything. I love this quote. I found this one. This fits, but it doesn't fit. But this is one I truly believe. It's by Saint Francis of Assisi. He says, a cat purring on your lap is more healing than any drug in the world, as the vibrations you are receiving are of pure love and contentment. Isn't that neat? And let me tell you something else they've discovered. Science has discovered that a cat's purr will heal bones. Have you ever noticed, those of you who have cats, that when you're not feeling good, your cat will come and sit with you and will start purring? It's not doing that just because it wants you to know that you're loved. It's doing that because it's assisting you in your healing process on an energetic level. Think about that for a moment. When you guys are walking your dogs or petting them or interacting with them in any way, the same thing is happening. Because everything is energy. Everything is divine energy. And so knowing that everything is divine energy, that means that everything is assisting everything else to rise up. To rise up in consciousness. So I'm going to share a guided visualization right now with you. A reading that I got from Eckhart Tolle that I made into a guided visualization. So let's take a breath. Close your eyes, get comfortable in your seat. And so let's take 3 breaths together and release them like a sigh. So like, and with each breath, feel yourself sinking deep into the center of your body. So breathe in. And one more time. And allow yourself to continue to go to that centered space within you. Perhaps it's the place that you use in meditation. And once you're in that centered space, allow yourself to think of an animal or let an animal pop up in your mind. We depend upon nature, not only for our physical survival, we also need nature to show us the way home, the way out of the prison of our minds. We get lost in doing, thinking, remembering, anticipating, lost in a maze of complexity and a world of problems. We have forgotten what rocks and plants and the animal kingdom still know. We're here together to be even more of ourselves than we've ever been before. We've forgotten the truth that all there is divine, and that this is what we are as well. We've forgotten to live here and now. So to bring your attention to an animal does not mean to think about it, but to simply perceive it and hold it in your awareness. Something of its essence then transmits itself to you. Allow yourself to think about that animal that came up for you and sense the stillness in it and feel how that same stillness arises in you. Sense how deeply it rests in the divine, completely at one with what it is and where it is. And as you realize this, let yourself come to that place where you're completely at one with who you are and where you are. Now give yourself completely to the act of listening. Does that animal purr or bark or growl or roar or make those ethereal noises that the whales make? Just imagine listening to this animal presence. Beyond the sound, there is something greater, a sacredness that cannot be understood through thought. So let yourself, give yourself over to listening to that greater thing. When we experience nature only through the mind, we see the form only, and we're unaware of the aliveness, its beingness. We're unaware of the life form, the sacred mystery. Thought reduces nature to a commodity, something that can be used for utilitarian purposes. For instance, the ancient forest becomes timber, the bird a research project, the mountain something to be mined or conquered. When you perceive nature, let there be spaces of no thought, no mind. And when you do this, it will respond to you and participate in the evolution of human and planetary consciousness. So let yourself be with that animal, not thinking about it, but being with it. Know that doing it in your imagination is just about as real as doing it in person. And in the deeper listening, ask it, do you have a message for me? And then listen with your heart. And after you've received your message, allow yourself to acknowledge the sacredness of that divine being that we call an animal. Let yourself be grateful to it. This animal is a gift. And when you perceive and join with nature in the field of stillness, that field becomes permeated with your awareness. And that is your gift to nature. Through you, nature becomes aware of itself. Nature has been waiting for you, as it were, for millions of years. So take a deep breath to anchor this meditation. And if you haven't said your thanks already to the animal, let yourself do that. And place its message deep into your heart. And take another breath. And when you are ready, open your eyes. As I said earlier, I got a lot of this from Eckhart Tolle, so I thank him for the idea of the meditation. I have one more story that I'm going to share with you. And this one really resonated with me in this idea of nature as the animal, the furry, feathered, slimy, scaly, whatever, everything that is. And you know, most of you know that I park my car in the same place out in the lot all the time. And there used to be a huge pine tree there. I got cut down earlier this summer because it was diseased, which I was really sad about, because in that tree were crows and a raven. And I haven't seen the raven around. Of course, I haven't been around as much as I used to. In fact, I was laughing the other day because I've been coming every day last week, and there was poop on my car. That had never happened the whole 6 or 7 years that I've been honoring those birds and feeding them every day. And it was like, you know, where have you been? Kind of thing. But this is a beautiful thing that I read on Facebook that I thought I would share with you. On Thursday, I was driving into town and spotted a raven in the middle of the highway. As I got closer, I could see that it had been hit by a car. The bird was in the middle of the lane and about 3 miles from home. Knowing ravens well from living alongside a family for 20 years, I suspected it was one of the pair that lives in the big old dead oak tree on the ranch next to us. Over the years, I have watched and been a part of this family as it raised its young every year. I know it's the same family because of their habits and calls when they visit the farm. They know me as I know them. The pair sit in the afternoons on the top bar that separates the horse stalls, preening and cooing, nuzzling each other. They know me and tolerate my presence as I sit on the ground watching in amazement at their love for one another. 2 big, black, beautiful birds, making a vast assortment of sounds. I am lucky to witness this unconditional love. Springtime is when the pair disappears, only having the male come over every day to collect chicken eggs if he can find them before I get a chance. Then, in the middle of June, the pair will bring over their fledglings, gawky, trying to fly. It's so fun to watch them making runs, getting up in the air. The horses and sheep do not mind them careening above their heads. The parents are always patient and proud, making all kinds of incredible noises. Once the babies fledge, the parents go back into their usual routine, coming over every morning and sitting on the telephone pole at the barn, waiting for me to notice them. When I look up and say hello, they immediately go into a beautiful dance. It's a coo, a dip with their body, and then they click their beaks together. This goes on for about 5 minutes with changes in frequency and additions of other unique sounds. The ravens visit every day. I love these times with the ravens. It has always healed my heart. But now, as I was driving into town, seeing a black thing in the middle of the road with cars whizzing by, my heart sank. Somehow I knew who this was. When I picked up the bird, I realized what had happened. I could immediately feel its breastbone, knowing the bird was desperately hungry and took a risk. It went for some morsel in the highway, but was not fast enough to get away. I've never seen a dead raven in the highway before. They are too smart to get hit by cars. But everything here in the West is in a desperate race to survive this incredible drought. Animals are risking their lives to find food and water. I could also see the bird had broken its neck when it was hit by the car. At first, I was just going to move the raven off to the side of the highway, but something in my heart told me to bring it home and put it in a more dignified, quiet space. I brought it out in the field next to the house and placed it in the dried grass next to grandmother Juniper. After a few hours, I was in the house and I could hear one of our ravens outside. It was making a strange sound that I've never heard before. I looked out the window and could see the raven was by the dead raven that I had placed in the dried grass. I stepped outside and saw the raven was next to it and talking to it. It would nuzzle it with its beak and coo. Tears came to my eyes as I watched this unfold and realized this dead bird must be its mate and my friend. The raven stayed with the carcass for several hours before night, sitting in the grandmother Juniper. The next day, as I was watering the horses and sheep at the farm, the raven flew up and sat on the telephone pole. I told it hello. It talked back in a language I've not heard before, a set of coos, clicks, and head bobs. The sounds were beautiful and quiet. My heart ached for its love of its lifelong mate. Maybe this was its way of telling me thank you for bringing its partner home. Maybe it was just lonely and wanting a friend. It sat on the pole, conversing with me for a while, and then it flew away. I can't help but think about all the connections there are between living things around us. If we allow them into our hearts, we can learn how to be human through their devotions and unconditional love. I know in my quiet existence at the farm over 2 decades, I have been taught what it means to love. But in all of this, I can't stop thinking about all the lives that have just been lost in this massive wildfire that is threatening our place. The many horrible dramas of families, mammals, birds, insects, and plants that are in the fire's path, trying to survive the drought, but adding to that stress, trying to outrun from this massive blaze. I feel as if my concern of our material things, like our house, in the line of this 300,000 acre fire and ready to burn, is insignificant compared to this horror. But life is resilient, and out of this tragedy, there are lessons to learn. I somehow wish that for one day, every human being on this planet would take time and see and then listen with their hearts to the beings that surround us and understand that we are insignificant compared to the immensity of all the life surrounding us. Just one day would change the world. This was written by a lady named Jennifer Douglas from Silver City, New Mexico. So I think this is true, that if just one day we really allowed ourselves to recognize that that ant that we don't want on our kitchen counter is just as divine as we are, that that too is God, then we would change the consciousness of humanity. So whenever we feel gratitude for any of life's creatures, we become fully present, whether we're gratitude for each other or gratitude for the animal kingdom. That might be what St. Francis of Assisi meant when he urged us to go out and preach the good news and only when necessary, use words. Can we have Edward's affirmation, please? Let's say this affirmation together. We celebrate the goodness of God by realizing our infinite connection to that divine being. We demonstrate this connection by loving each other unconditionally and showing charity and mercy to all. We recognize God as all things. So let's go into prayer. how grateful I am to be able to remember that everything, absolutely everything is divine. That this divine energy is the source and substance of the animal kingdom, the plant kingdom, the rocks, our planet, ourselves. This divine energy is all the same. And it's only in how we perceive it that makes it seem different. And so I know for each one of us today that we allow ourselves to pay attention in stillness. Pay attention to our pets. Pay attention to the animals, the insects, the birds, the fish. Pay attention to nature itself, recognizing that we're a part of nature, recognizing that it's all divine. It's all divine energy. And so we celebrate this. We celebrate knowing that we're walking through a planet of our making, with thoughts, with feelings. And each piece of life, whether it's insects or whatever it might be, has created their own reality as well. And so together, we acknowledge the life force that is in all of us, the life force that is the truth of our being. And I choose now, and you could choose this with me if you'd like, I choose now to pay attention and to honor all the life forms around me. Never again do I curse them like flies or ants or whatever. I know it's all God. It's absolutely all divine. And so with a grateful heart, I am willing to give and accept the gifts that all of life has to offer. And my heart is open. My mind is open. I am ready to give and receive. And I know the whole universe is applauding us as we make this decision. The whole universe shines for us. And I also declare that sometime this week, we have an experience with something in the animal, insect, whatever world, something in that world that makes us realize what we've been talking about this morning. And I'm grateful for this. So I release these words into divine law, knowing that they are already so, and so it is. Now we have a treat. Donna and friends are going to give us our musical gift today. Thank you very much.
We've been talking all month about nature and our connectedness to it. We are all one. And in some cultures, the four-leggeds, the wingeds, the crawlers might represent an aspect of our ancestors and our beloveds who have passed on. Here's a derangement about how I view some of this. In our family and in Brian and my yard, we have a lot of fruit trees, which attracts a lot of the critters in our neighborhood, the skunks and the squirrels and the foxes. And so we have a lot of interaction. And we also have a cat that knows where all the snakes live, the garter snakes. And I frequently get live little bundles of snakes in my house. So they get returned back to their little place and I try to hide them from her. Anyway, there's some insight there. So this is a derangement called critters. In this life, we're all connected, no matter how we get about. Whether slithery or bouncy or crawly, though some say they'd rather do without, we're connected. In the daytime, when we romp along the beach, we are here together, usually within close reach. Love to visit with my fur friends, love to watch the birds at play. I even like it when I can remove garter snakes out of harm's way. We're connected. Cats and snakes and things are in my yard. We are here together. We are here for the duration. Sun lights up the daytime, moon shines in the night. My senses light up when I turn on the light, and Mr. Spider's there at my right. We're connected. You've ever awakened in the night, got up, flipped a light on? There's that moth that was hanging out earlier in the day. We're connected. Sharing space and time. We are here together, letting our spirit shine, connected. In the forest are crawlers, banana slugs and other things. All around us are the wonders of the critters that nature brings. Stay connected. As you shoo that fly away, we are here together. Wouldn't have it any other way. Everybody wants connection. This is something that we all know. Embrace those critters and others all around us. It's a wonder-filled way to go. Stay connected. Keep spirit in the forefront every day. We are here together. Wouldn't have it any other way. We are connected. We are all connected. Connection is the way that we go. Connection, connected.
Wow, that was great. I like that. I'm going to be singing that today. We are connected. Yeah. All right, so let's put up the affirmation for think about what you want to give today. Remember that our baskets, we don't pass them right now, but they're on the back table. Or you can do what it says on the next slide, but we're not going to go there yet. Go back. Thank you. It's so weird not being in control. Anyway, let's say this affirmation together. I gratefully give from the fullness of my abundance, knowing my gift blesses the center, all in it and beyond, and so it is. And then the next slide shows how to make your donation if you're not here. Ukiah also, hello everybody in Ukiah and elsewhere on Zoom. So here's how you can make your donations. And thank you very much. We really appreciate everything that is donated to us, making it able for us to do what we do, which is what I love doing. So, hey, but let's give some gratitude here. So allow ourselves to think about this. There is only one source. That source is divine. And that source gives freely, constantly. All it needs is a receiver. So I'm grateful that we're good receivers. I'm grateful that being made in the image and likeness of this divine source, we're also good givers. And I know that everything in our experience, including our money, our finances, it's all God. It's all good. And so it is. So our next slide is yes, who would like to be the one that reads this morning? Come, thank you. Oh yeah, we have those two chairs preventing anybody from going down this aisle because the line you know about the what? The robots next. Oh, you know what? We don't have a thing to read it from, so you're gonna have to do it. But you got to stand there. All right.
We, the Eureka and Ukiah Centers for Spiritual Living, are communities that celebrate diversity, foster inclusion, champion inner work, and create space for brave, vulnerable conversations. We are communities that honor the unique emanation of God that, yoo-hoo, can I have the? That each person embodies and advocate for people, with people for human rights and dignity for all. We are communities that bless each other, see sacredness in all life, remain learners and listeners so that we may grow together and understand that oneness is not sameness. We know our beloved community is revealed more fully when we love each other well.
Thank you, Les. Very good. And so it is. What was that, Jackson?
For every human being on the planet, there are 2 billion insects.
For every human being on the planet, there are 2 billion insects.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Red.
Wow. That's an interesting fact. Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad they don't show up all at once. Let's move into the peace song. Let's stand up. Remember that this song is a prayer, at least for us for right now. And we'll conclude our service with this. Thank you, everybody, for being here this morning. Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins with me. Yes, there is peace on earth, the peace that is meant to be. All has no power, please, on your way out the door, sign up for a time period for the Twice Nice. We need a lot of help. And take your chairs and put them over to the side. And also, anybody that wants to hang, please stay and help bring in the racks when Brian, I think he needs help loading them too.